the fat epidemic. It's like, yeah, it's all good. I'm secure in my body. I'm happy. It's not good, man. You need to take a good look at your life and say, okay, are you willing to risk the hard work that's going to take to actually change this for the better? I hope that analogy makes sense. I don't know. It came to my brain really fast. Let's go. I feel like that's my new intro. I don't know. You've been watching a few of them. I've been doing it just kind of naturally. I hope that was a good attention grabber to get some energy into you, because today we're going through the 8 areas, not 3, the 8 areas to have a fulfilling life. So there's many things. That does not just come down to what you think it comes down to, what's at the forefront of your brain. And I'm going to tell you how to open up your brain so that you can be happy and be fulfilled in many areas of your life, instead of just feeling down in the dumps because maybe 1 or 2 aren't locked in. So first things first, you guys know the drill. I got a little bit of a story for you guys. So I was in one of my favorite places on the planet, Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I've had a lot of good experiences there, and it was really the second place in Mexico that I lived full time, and I did a lot of growth. I grew a lot there. I had a lot of growth in Playa del Carmen. Picture me at the beach, picture me on top of like a rooftop pool, picture of me taking some calls, watching some videos with this beautiful sunset. And this earth is something that I cannot complain about, because as long as I'm waking up and going to bed looking at this thing, it's freaking crazy, man. It gives me some perspective. And that's kind of what I started thinking about in Playa del Carmen around this time, because I had just come off of a period of not making much money. It ebbs and it flows because I'm starting businesses, I'm running deals, I'm making investments, and some months are really great, some months aren't that great. I had not made a lot of money before, but I just got this new sales gig that was making me a pretty good amount of money. It's definitely enough to live in the US, let alone Mexico. And the thing about it was I just wasn't happy. It was a health offer, and I was talking to people that were just, the energy I was getting from these calls were just terrible. And it was just injecting into my soul just like every single day. And I couldn't get into a flow state because these people I was talking to just didn't have the right energy, and they were just sad and they didn't want to help themselves. And I know, you should say, oh, well, that's why you're there, to help them. And I get that, but it was hard to, when someone is at low vibrational energy, then that brings your energy down and you meet in the middle, right? Just the same thing with high vibrational energy. You just get energized, watching like a YouTube video, a motivational video or something like that's the same concept. So I met up with this buddy of mine who has a little bit more life experience than me, maybe 20 years on me. But we're pretty good friends. We've had some nice experiences of bonding together, like sparring and stuff like that. We've known each other for a while. So he happened to be down there. So he was going through his own stuff. And I was talking to him. I met him at a restaurant. We were talking about like how life is for me and for him. And I was telling him, man, I was like, listen, I'm not where I want to be financially. And it was really eating at my soul. And I'm not happy because I'm finally in this job that is bringing in money, unlike the past few months, right? Because I was kind of in between stuff. But I'm just like, I feel like my energy is being sucked out, which means that like I don't want to be at that job. I need to, because the money situation, that was really what it came down to. I was like, listen, I've been doing this thing for a long time. I thought I'd be farther than I was now. And I feel like because I don't have that financial success that I see on freaking Instagram and stuff like that, from people, hitting crypto moonshots, stuff like that, I feel like I'm not like worth as much. Essentially, he sits me down at this restaurant. He goes, brother, just because you don't have the financial success that you want doesn't mean that you don't have a successful or fulfilling life. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, that's what they all say, money isn't everything. But it's like, I have to get this, I got to get to the money, and I got to feel good when I'm actually doing it. And he's like, that's the more important thing, is you doing something that you legitimately enjoy. And I was like, yeah, I get it. Do something you like, but also make a lot of money. I just can't crack this code. And he's like, brother, you've already cracked the code. And there's multiple areas of life that you need to be successful in, not just finances. And he ran me through an exercise that I'm going to run through you guys here in 2 seconds. So this story will come to an end later in the video in a few minutes. But what most people think, stepping to the side for a second, is that money is your worth, especially men. We have egos attached to this. Like, however much money we have saved in the bank, that's what we feel like we are worth. We're expected to pay on dates, which is totally fine. I'm not complaining about that. But if we don't have a lot of money, we feel like we have low self-worth. That's what we feel like. And that's not the case. This is what most people think, but this isn't true. And I know, trust me, people say, oh yeah, no, it's not true, but like still, I want a lot of money. I'm with you. Just stay with me here for a second. It's not true at all. Your money is not your worth. You are more than your money. I'll explain in a minute. Destination is more important than the journey. That's what people think. Wrong. The journey is the most important part of it. The destination doesn't mean anything if you just teleport there, but the road and the route that it took to get there makes the destination cool. I'll give you another example. I went on a 2 week canoeing trip with my father and a couple other friends when I was young, when I was maybe 12. It was in the boundary waters of Canada and the United States up top. It was an amazing trip. And I kept telling my dad, I want to get to the campsite. I want to get to the campsite. I want to get to the next day, right? So I can set up my tent, so I can chill out. And on like the third day, my dad looked me in the eye and he was like, son, this is the good part. The campsite is just the dessert, right? This is the fun part. Look around you. There's trees, there's open water, there's beauty, there's nature, there's world. I was 12 years old. And he said, the journey is the fun part, not the destination. This is especially relevant to us because we have our brains so messed up from these TikTok algorithms and TikTok rot brain and stuff like that, that it's hard for us to see that bigger picture. But it's like certain influencers that you know online say, if you were born with $1 million doesn't mean anything. But if you were born broke or not with $1 million and then you work your way up to $1 million, then that $1 million is actually worth something to you. And you can look back at the journey and be like, remember those days we were eating ramen noodles? Like, those were good times, haha, and laugh about it now that you're on the other side of it. That's what makes everything important and gives it value. So this is not true at all. The journey is the important part, and you need to extrapolate it out to life. Because if you're always trying to get to the next destination, you're gonna miss life, man. It's gonna zip on right by you, and I'm working on that myself. A lot of people think change is bad. Change is not bad. Change is good, right? You want change in your life, because if you're stagnant, then you're not growing. I always say the only time that you're moving backwards is actually when you're not moving at all. Because at least if you're moving and it seems like you're going backwards, you're still moving. So you're learning and you're adapting and you're still going forward after that. Change is not bad. You should always want to change. You should always want to adapt. You should always want to learn. A lot of people get content, and content, that is bad. Contentment is the enemy of everything good. So I would say contentment is bad, not change. Contentment, contentness, yeah, one of the two. Security is good. That's what most people think. In the terms of actual physical safety, yes, of course. But it kind of goes to this same point that I just set up here, where change is actually a good thing, right? You're learning, you're adapting. And so just because you're secure doesn't mean you're in the best spot. Just because you're comfortable doesn't mean you're in the best spot. You want to get to a point to where you're not just comfortable, but you're also taking risks, because you don't get to where you actually want to be without taking risks. That's the point of risk. You go to a casino, you gamble, $100. Like, you might lose all your money, yeah, but you might also win $100 more than you had, which is doubling your money, right? Now, don't go to the casino and gamble away your life savings, but I'm saying that risk has the good, or the possibility of good, attached to it. So look at each situation in life and say, is this risk worth what I'm going to be giving up if I fail, or if I'm ordered to get it? And I would say that most of the time, unless it's like a huge deal, then most of the time the answer is going to be risk is going to be good, not security, not safety, right? You want to push yourself. If security was good, then we would never go to the gym, because you just be. It's like people being okay with the fat epidemic. It's like, yeah, it's all good. I'm secure in my body. I'm happy. It's not good, man. You need to take a good look at your life and say, okay, are you willing to risk the hard work that's going to take to actually change this for the better? I hope that analogy makes sense. I don't know. It came to my brain really fast. And then a lot of people think I am not good enough for blank, like me as a person. And that is completely not true, because every single one of us, not to get too sentimental here, has the ability to be able to make whatever change in their life they want. And people think that they don't because they're following the rules of society. But if you really want something, you can go get it. You can change anything you want. I've done it. You can break out of whatever mindset you're in and whatever people want for you. So in order to give you some perspective, what I want to do is run you through the exercise that this guy that I met with in Playa del Carmen, my colleague, gave me that day. I was very concerned about my financial situation and my energetic situation. He said there's 8 areas that feed into you living a fulfilling and happy life, not just 1 or 2. And so he ran me through an exercise. He said, put these on a scale of 1 to 10, all 8 of these categories: spiritual, family life, career, mental, environmental, financial, social, and physical. How happy are you in each of these sections of life? How do you feel that you are faring out in each of these sections of life? How do you feel that you have achieved what you want to achieve and are happy in every single section? And then tally your points up out of 80 and divide it by 8. And you'll get exactly like the out of 10 number of where your life's at. Because he asked me first, he said, where do you feel like you're at financially? I go, man, like one or two. I'm not where I want to be. I want to be a multi millionaire, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get there. So I feel like my life is at a one or two right now. He goes, okay, financial might be a one or two, but he ran me through all of these other areas. And I don't remember what it was at the time, sixes, sevens, maybe a five in there, maybe a nine. I have a very strong family life. I'm very close to my mom, my dad, my whole entire family. I feel like I'm on top of my mentality pretty good. If if I'm in the right environment, then I feel like I'm actually living life. Like in Playa del Carmen, the environmental was great because I'm not in a place where I can't be successful. I'm in the freaking sun and the ocean, right, with my boys, and that's a great environment for me to be in. So that was like a nine, right? I'm not in my dream penthouse or whatever, but like that was up there. That was like a 7, 8, or 9. So I tallied all these up, and it came at the end of it where when I thought my life was at a 1 or a 2 or 3, based on where I want. It does this every time, man. Let me I think I did this on the last video. Yeah, there we go. I have to find out what some more gestures are. He said, because I feel like I'm at a 1 or a 2, when you actually average out all these, I'm actually at like a 7 on all of these. My whole entire life, my dream life, I'm already at a 7 out of 10. And that really put some things into perspective for me. I was in the gym. I felt great. I was exploring my spirituality. I still have some questions, but at least I'm putting thought into that. My social life is fantastic. My environment was great in Playa. My career and my finances had some work to do. I'm still figuring out exactly how to get to where I want to be. My family was great, and I was at a 7 out of 10 in my whole entire life, because your dream life is only 3 points away, and you're 26 years old. That's insane. And I thought about it. I was like, it's true. It's super true. I'm only 26 years old. I feel old. I feel like I'm old balls, but I'm only 26 years old, and I'm at a 7 out of 10 in like my whole entire life. I just put my brain into perspective that I didn't have before, because I was only looking through the lens of financial success, and that's not what life is about. But we live in a society, especially as Americans, if you're American, where we're just driven by, the American dream and getting to the top and freaking, market share and yada, yada, yada. I was in business school, so it's like I was looking through that lens, and I needed to open up my brain and my eyes to the whole entire picture, which was very difficult to do before he helped me out with that. So now, when I am reflecting on my life, or sometimes when I do sit down and I journal or meditate or take a look at where I am and where I want to be, which is pretty often, I can actually have a holistic view on where I'm going and where I'm actually at, instead of just looking at it through one simple lens. So this is an exercise I'd recommend for you, anyone, just to gauge where they're at in every single aspect. Because maybe you have a great financial situation, maybe you stacked up a couple M's, and maybe you have a great career that you love, but maybe you're just doing it from a really bad environment for you. Maybe you're doing it with terrible people around you. Maybe you have all of this, you have all the materialistic things, but you just feel like there's something missing, which is the story for a lot of like very rich people. That's why they say money can't buy you everything, because their spirituality is so disconnected. Or any of these are disconnected. They're like, oh, money makes you sad, or money doesn't buy you everything, money can't do everything. Like all of that stuff is true, right? Your financial, now that doesn't mean don't make money. I don't agree with that side of it, because that's what they're trying to say. But they're trying to get you to think about the fact that life has more than one avenue when you look at it. So I would recommend that you do this exercise and see where you lie overall out of 80, and then see where you fit. How to live a life worth living. How do you actually approach this kind of life that you're looking at in all 8 of these sections, right? Well, definitely take a look and be aware of all 8 of those sections, and make action steps on how you can strive to be better in each of them. Also, just stop caring. This is a life hack that I learned pretty young. Just stop caring. Why do you care so much? It's not that deep, is the Gen Z term. It's not that deep, right? Like, life is life, and you are living it, so be happy in it. And don't freak out if it doesn't exactly go the way that you envision it the first time. Adapt. Don't live through other people. We all try to do this because we have these lives on this little piece of metal that we have, and we freaking want to live in accordance to our parents, right? Which, definitely listen to your parents, but we want to live in accordance to what our friends are doing or how we're viewed by our peers. Don't live through other people. Live through yourself, because that's the only person that matters to you in your brain is yourself. I mean, that's not to say don't be loyal to other people, don't make friends, don't be social. Don't take that out of context, but like, do whatever you want to do and do what makes you happy. That's the most important thing that you can do in order to actually be fulfilled and be happy in life. Don't live in accordance with other people's preferences. It's a very similar. That's what this one was. Don't live in accordance with other people's preferences. Don't live through other people. Is don't stare at your phone, looking at the life other people have, and get jealous of it and do nothing to fix your own life. That's what that one is. You need to go take it for yourself. Whatever you want to live, whatever life you want to live, you need to do it instead of living that life through other people, because you're not actually living it that way and you're not actually going to be happy. You'll be happy when you're looking at their reel because you're imagining yourself in that life, but you don't actually have it. And that's part of being authentic to yourself. That's all part of the same exact process, is figure out what you want as a person and then go out and live that life. Don't fit into the boxes of other people just because you think you might have to, or other people say this is what you should do. You don't have to do anything. And that's a concept that took me a while to break out from, because I felt like I was being groomed for this 9-to-5 world or whatever. I'm not just saying in reference to jobs, but just live life exactly how you want to, authentically to you, and you'll never be happier. Think deeper about this life that you're living. We live through a facade with our phones. It's all very surface level. Like, take life seriously and legitimately say, listen, I'm glad that I'm freaking here. How cool is it that I can go to bed, not have to worry about breathing, and wake up and not be dead? How freaking cool is that? How cool is it my heart is pumping and it's just doing it on autopilot? How cool is that? How cool is it that you can actually learn something? You can read something from a page and then regurgitate that from your brain without actually looking at that page. No one thinks about these types of things, but we were created by whoever created us in an incredible way. And if you think deeply about these things, then it will expand your mindset to a point to where you actually appreciate the little things. And that's the next point, which is stop and smell the flowers. Appreciate the small things in life, and the bigger things won't seem like that big of a deal. Literally stop and smell the flowers. How cool is it, thinking deeply, that something can grow out of the ground and have a scent that is so pleasant that it makes you smile walking down the street? Like, that's freaking cool, right? So think deeper and literally stop and smell the flowers, but also just be happy in general. Talk to people, smile, shake people's hands, drink that beer, have that taco that you're looking at. Don't let it get away from you. But anyone who's trying to 100% accomplish something is going to drive themselves crazy. That's why I live by the 80-20 rule. I stick to my routine, I stick to my habits, I stick to my goals 80% of the time, and 20% of the time that I don't, that's okay with me. And that might not be a standard that other people want or have, but that's super okay with me, because it's going to kill me faster if I try to avoid every single freaking seed oil in the universe than if I just generally 80% of the time avoid seed oils and then eat the piece of cake at the sister's birthday party or whatever. Don't stress about it too much. Stop and smell the flowers. So that's it. That's how to live a life worth living. That's how to go through this process of the 8 areas of life and increase the fulfillment and happiness that you're getting out of life. I'm coming at you in a tracksuit today, so you know the knowledge drop is amazing, and I'm going to see you guys next time on the next video tomorrow. So, oh baby.